No, did I say the last now? Welcome to the Friday edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Jones Hussein. Today on the program, Obi weeps, claims he won presidential election and vows to prove it. A Senate president urges INEC to conduct governorship election based on Electoral Act. Supreme Court orders all 200, 500, and 1,000 Naira notes to remain in circulation until December 31st. Just as Governor El-Rufai says, Emefiele introduced Naira redesign to help the PDP win 2023 elections. And later on the show, former Accountant General's missing statement stalls trial in alleged 109 billion Naira fraud. Well, I'm hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju, BKO. I greet you.
Good evening, Citizen Jones.
Yeah, we also have a returning Kolawole Johnson, KJ. I greet you, KJ.
Grandpa, I greet you
welcome.
too.
Yeah, it's not an accident that we are all decked in white. So be it. All right, so the team is ready. I hope you are.
I'll clean our arts out.
All right, the team is ready. Okay then, let's go. You know, the future of this republic is in the hands of the Nigerian voter. This is why all 18 presidential candidates staked their claims to the presidency at the just concluded elections. Defeated candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Gregory Obi, broke down, I should say, but vowed to prove he won the election and would head to the court to show it. But ahead of the March 11 governorship polls, Senate President Ahmed Lawan has tasked the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to abide by the Constitution and the Electoral Act 2022. It is not opinion polls that determine the outcome of elections. It's only votes and the ballot box based on laid down laws, Jide.
Yes. You can't win the election on paper. You have to win the election on the field. And the election has been fought and won. It's as simple as that. Peter Obi says he won the election. But he didn't even come second in the election. He has a mountain to. It's up to him where he can find the facts to show that he indeed won the election. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as far as evidence can go, as far as the collation and announcement of result by INEC can go, has been returned elected after a well-fought battle. We predicted that it will be a close contest. It won't be like what happened in previous years. In 2011, not only had the popular vote, but also had 25% in 34 states. This time around, none of the candidates was able to get 34 states to score 25% and above in 34 states. No one. Neither Obi, nor Atiku scored 25% in 24 states. Neither of them. So it's difficult to say that they have valid grounds to say that they won the election. Facts are what they are. Obi can weep as much as he wants, but it will not validate the fact that he was defeated in this election. Obi reminds me of President Buhari in those days when he would claim that, oh, I was rigged out. But President Buhari never won any state outside of the core north. And you can't be president of Nigeria until you are able to win elections
At least.
across the
length and
the
breadth.
6 geopolitical zones of our country. You won't be elected.
Yeah.
You can do all the huffing and puffing. It won't change anything. What the framers of the Constitution got right is the stipulation that you must have 25% in 24 states.
Yeah.
That will show that you have considerable support across the length and breadth of our country.
The FCT election don't not count much.
No,
here.
the FCT is viewed. There have been 2 court cases
Okay.
decided. One decided by the Supreme Court, showing that you do not have to win the FCT to be elected. If you score the mandatory 25% in 24 states, even if you didn't score 25% in the FCT, you will be you are good to go. But some people in this season think that they can simply hoodwink or lie to Nigerians. They are now making it look like no president can be validly elected until he has won Abuja or until he has recorded 25% in Abuja.
In the FCT.
In the FCT. In the FCT. It is ignorance peddling, and it's a very shameful level of ignorance peddling, because the idiocy in the argument is, does it mean that if you won election in 36 states, but failed woefully in FCT,
You won't be.
will anybody be able to validly say you are not qualified to be validly elected just because you didn't win a very small portion of our country? Look at the map. See how small Abuja FCT is. So, in the eyes of the law, Abuja is seen, literally speaking, as one of the states. But in the real sense of the word, it's not a state. And that was why they said, and if they saw Abuja as a state, they would have said 37 states. But they said 36 states and the one that is not a state. That's Abuja. Yeah. It's a very simple thing. Once you have it, if you have 25% in 23 states, and you are lucky to have it in Abuja, you are good to go. Yeah. That's the way. That is as simple as that.
Kola, the judiciary has intervened in elections in our country over time. Yeah. So you can't begrudge Mr. Obi going to court or the PDP doing same. I know the SDP had said they were not interested in going to court here.
Right from from 1999, has there been any election that that has not been contested, really? None. However, in our democratization process, there is a need for us to also know that the so-called peace cannot last forever. Democratization to mean entrenching democracy.
The process.
The process itself. So that process, I think, is what people are challenging. I've analyzed this before elsewhere. You start from the 1958, 1959 Electoral Commission of Nigeria that was headed by Edward, the so-called exploiterate. There were complaints, remember, sir? Yeah. Of course you remember. Grandpa. Remember. The 1960, also, the FEC, when Kofo Abayomi had to resign before the election. There were complaints, on and on, 93, including the 1978 FEDECO.
Of course, you cannot forget 12 2/3 and all that.
Oh yeah. I think the only one that we didn't complain about, of course, the people didn't have complaint, was the NECON, the Abacha NECON, who was the sole person. And from the beginning of this dispensation, of this republic, since 1999, we've been complaining. And I think we have held terrible elections thus far. What makes this different? It's because we started having some hope that, okay, finally we'll have a very transparent election. And there was this high amount of energy in the public. The people, the youth, wanted to participate to determine their future. And this is not just one item. It's a process. There are different layers. And part of it was the transmission of results, but not the only one. The use of technology as stipulated in the law started from accreditation via your beaver's machine, the voting and all that. That transmission, that in itself does not validate or invalidate election, is the major issue here. Let me come to the bone of contention. I will come to the bone of contention. Let me digress a bit. You see, the posting to the IREV, one, for us to be able to monitor the election. It wasn't going to be the collation ground because, after all, after the voting process at the unit, you will still need to sign the form EC8. Of course, you upload a copy, but you take it to the ward collation center for collation. The collation is still manual. Now, what the job of the IREV is to ensure that the citizens are able to monitor as a result are flowing in. It's not even the center for collation. That we need to understand. However, albeit, that process that brought trust, that process that was going to engender trust in the entire electioneering process was what INEC failed to deliver. And that is the bone of contention. Now, today, we have given room for people to raise different conspiracy theory simply because we failed to deliver that process. And that has nothing to do with any of the candidates. It has everything to do with the institution and those who are managing the institution, INEC. At first, they told us that they had technical glitches. And, well, we don't know why they were unable to resolve that all through. I remember a workshop I attended a week before the election. And after, it was from 9:30 to 6 p.m. or so. And somebody asked a question, a major stakeholder in this process, and asked the question that, what if, because we were to be dealing with all the results real time as they flow into the IREF, that what if on that day the INEC server breaks down and we are not able to access the results? So what is the essence of everything we're doing here?
That's it.
Well, of course, we said, no, that's not possible. But by now we know that INEC would have a plan B for that. But that failed. So holding INEC responsible for that should be a collective, duty. Why? I think it was Pericles that talked about citizenship. He said, we only properly become a man when we become a citizen. That is, when we are able to fight for public interest. So it is in the interest of the public for us to demand that INEC, going forward, should be able to ensure that the rules, the guidelines that is set, they follow. But on the election itself, if, for example, one of the candidates said, I won, there must be proofs. It doesn't matter how much of claims we put in the public space. The question is, are there proofs? If there are proofs, does it mean that what we have at the collation center were different from what eventually got to the INEC in Abuja and what was uploaded? If that is the case, we should let him go to court. Okay. And at least it will contribute to the democratization process. However, there are two germane things now. The number two, the second position is laying claim to the victory. The third position is laying claim to the victory. I don't know how possible it is that either of them can have it. And it is more difficult for Labour because the two-thirds that they need to have across the country, they didn't have. And we must also understand that the dynamics...
PDP didn't have it.
Oh, okay. See, The dynamics of a national election like ours is beyond the outlook, the outplay, and the dynamics of a particular area. You must have the national spread.
All right. Kuala Njidi, we will play what Peter Obi and Alhaji Atiku Abubakar said vis-a-vis they are going to court. Watch on, please.
Gratitude to the obedient youths, those who believe that a new Nigeria is possible. And I say to them that a new Nigeria is possible. And we'll work for that new Nigeria that is possible. Their resilience, their hard work for a new Nigeria should not be waned. Daddy and I remain committed to that new Nigeria.
I have come to the conclusion that the processes and outcome of the presidential and national assembly elections of last Saturday was grossly flawed in every material particular, and as such must be challenged by all of us. I know that Nigerians, especially the youth, are traumatized by the developments. But I want to urge them to conduct themselves peacefully. Like I have done over the years, I assure you that I will commit the rest of my life in ensuring that true democracy, which affirms the supremacy of your votes and your will take firm footing and guarantee a stable, prosperous, and peaceful Nigeria.
All right. Jide, you know, one little fly in the ointment is the fact that Nigerian politicians are seen as bad losers.
Very bad loser. This same article that we just played his tape. Remember what he did when he lost the presidential primaries of the PDP to Goodluck Jonathan. There was nothing he didn't say. Nigerians should do a tie back to what he was saying there, hinting that even running the government could be made difficult. And he lost the election on the day every ballot that went against him, Nigerians saw, because they were counting their ballots on live television. But because he didn't go according to his plan, according to his wish, there was nothing he didn't say. Threats, incitement. That is what we are saying now. So it fits into his idiosyncrasies that he will lose and then not be happy about the fact. Yes, it's painful to lose, especially when it looks like your last shake of the dice. It's painful to lose. But this thing is still a game at the end of the day, and you can't all win. It's ridiculous for somebody who came third to be saying that he won and that he will prove it. It's clear that Obi did not win a single Nigerian state dominated by Muslims. Not one. A single Nigerian state dominated by Muslims, Peter Obi did not win. Nobody will be able to win the presidency in our country if his support base is from just a geopolitical area, or
region,
his support base is one religion. Mr. President contested several times. He could not win on all of those occasions because it was a provincial mindset. He could not get the votes from the South. Peter Ayodele was here the other day and was talking like nobody had ever done what Peter Obi did. Of course, Ayodele is not a historian. Peter, in 2011, Buhari recorded more than 12 million votes, about 12 million 200 and something votes. That is almost double what Peter Obi got this time. In that same year, Buhari won more states than Peter Obi won. He also added 25% in Abuja. And he had only 4 months. The party, he had 4 months. CPC was formed, and in 4 months, Buhari took it to battle, and Buhari won more states than Peter Obi won now, and got almost double. In fact, just a few hundreds. It could have been double the votes that Peter Obi got. So they should stop giving the impression that nobody has ever done what Peter Obi did. To say that is to show that you know little about history, because all you need to do is go to 2011. You see what happened.
KJ, you know, quickly, in a breath, let's talk about the second leg of the story. Senate President Ahmed Lawan has tasked the INEC. Next Saturday, the governorship elections are here. Do it according to the rule.
No, perhaps by inference, he is saying that the first was not done according to the rule. I mean, I don't know what will make, what I will make up with that, except he's saying that, ensure this one too follows the rule. Because if he's saying, this time around, make sure this one follows the rule, perhaps he's trying to tell us what we do not know. However, I was going to mention something. At times, we build strong hope without data. The candidate of LP said, one of the things that they will prove in court is the fact that now we have a larger registration, but the votes dwindled. Maybe I should take you through memory lane too. In 1999,
make it brief.
Yeah, very brief. When we had 58 million projected voters, we recorded 30 million votes. That was way more than 60% or thereabout. Now, in 2003, we had 42 million votes out of 61 million. Again, that was way beyond. But look at what happened from 2015. We had 67 million, yet we had 29 million votes. What happened? The moment that we started introducing measures into the system to ensure that votes count, we started having a drop in the number of votes.
Expectedly.
Of course. In 2019, we had 82 million, increase again in the number of voters registration. Yet we still had 29 million total votes.
Yeah.
Now, this time around, the moment Beavers came, go and check the result of those states that the election came before us. Look at Anambra, look at Edo, look at it. Even look at Delta. Look at Borno that gave Buhari 901,000 or thereabouts in the last election.
Yeah.
They only brought 250,000 for APC this time around.
Now, their son was there.
Honestly, was right there contesting. So I think that assertion, if they are going to the court with that, that may not stand.
All right, we go to our next story. But the debate continues. You know, like a vicious bolt from the blue, the Naira crunch, which hit the land since December 15, 2022, has got millions of countrymen and countrywomen between and betwixt. The Supreme Court attempted to mediate the crisis without much luck at the time. Now the Apex Court delivered a relieving judgment anyway on Friday by declaring that the Naira redesign and cashless policy were an affront to the 1999 Constitution as amended. Justice Emmanuel Agim, who read the lead judgment of the court, held that the president acted ultra vires, that is beyond his powers, by not consulting the relevant authorities before empowering the CBN to introduce the new notes. It tells me the suffering was avoidable. But first, let's hear the three governors that went to court. Please watch on.
The Supreme Court of Nigeria has given us all the reliefs that we sought for. By a very unanimous judgment, the full court of 7 justices gave a unanimous judgment 7-0. From today till the 31st of December 2023, the old Naira notes of all denominations shall continue to circulate side by side with the new Naira notes. That's the major decision of the Supreme Court. The other decision is that the policy of currency confiscation, where you deposit money in the bank and the bank chooses what to give you, is unlawful and illegal and shall end forthwith. So Nigerians can go to the bank and collect whatever they have deposited and get on with their lives. Those that said that we went to the court because of elections are wrong. We went to the court because our people in our states are suffering and businesses in our states are coming to a halt and lives were being destroyed. That's why we went to court. We left elections in the hands of God, and we all know the result. Even though this policy was designed to ensure that we did not win the presidential elections, we have won. Let me say that this is a policy of the PDP. Emefiele was appointed central bank governor by the PDP originally. So let's not forget where he came from. And he's the one that put this policy together to help the PDP win the 2023 general elections and deceive the president into thinking that it is possible to withdraw 2 trillion naira from circulation and reprint everything in 3 months. No country in world history has done it. He deceived the president, he gave the president wrong information, and the Attorney General, unfortunately, we have to claim that one is from our party, supported this policy, and we know why. Go and look at the antecedent. These are people that wanted to run for president or governor in our party and didn't make it. This is their revenge plan. But the Supreme Court justices today have shown that this is a policy against the people of Nigeria and it's invalid. Go to your bank and collect all your money today. You have the right to do so by the order of the Supreme Court of Nigeria.
They have proven that this is the place and the hope of all men, not just common man, men and women across this federation. Secondly, this particular decision today has laid a solid foundation for our incoming president, the president-elect, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to start and cruise on a solid foundation. This particular decision today has proven that Nigerian law is a respecter of no one, including Mr. President. Nobody can take the laws for granted and go scot-free. This is what it has proven today. I congratulate the Nigerians. I congratulate the common man. And I sympathize and condole those that have lost their lives in these struggles to ensure that they earn their livelihood. You did not deserve it. And that is why our leader here, Governor El-Rufai, myself, and Governor Matawale, and all other governors, including some PDP governors, especially the governor of Rivers State, Sokoto and Abia.
Many people have been challenging us that because we have huge amount of money that we put in our houses, that's why we come to court. But you know it is not true, because like myself, I challenge EFCC that they should go to any of my property and boggle it and take any money that they have seen in my houses. Therefore, it's not about me or about El-Rufai or about Bello. It is about the Nigerians. Therefore, we have made it today, and we thank all the judges. 7 of them give same judgment.
The national identity in Nigeria. The entire enrollment of NIMSI in 13 years from its establishment was 39 million. From 2007 to October 2020. But from October 2020 to 15th of January 2023, less than what? Only 2 years and how many months? And around 3 months. We catapulted the enrollment from 39 million in 13 years to 95 million in 2 years and 3 months.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
What is really happening in Akamata market? It seems these people don't want the election to hold.
I hope you're broadcasting it. The world must hear.
No. Is that how you people share sensitive news like that without verifying it? If I may ask, which news platform published the news?
Jojo sent it though.
Jojo? Is that not the same Jojo that posted a fake election result the last time that almost caused a riot?
You know they forget something.
No. In this election season and after, one must be very careful. Or do you want to set the country on fire?
Haba.
Fake news is a threat to a free and fair election and to peace and security. So, before you share any news, check to be sure the source is credible. Check if there are supporting credible sources. Read beyond the headlines. Check the author. Check the date. Check your biases. Ask an expert or send to a fact-checking organization for confirmation. Say no to fake news. This message is brought to you by the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the UK government.
All I need to say about the second River Niger Bridge, 21 years ago, as I came onto this throne, it will normally take you 3 to 4 hours to cross the bridge. I mean, if you are going to Lagos, you spent almost half your time on the bridge, and you were stuck on the bridge before you came across from Asaba this morning. Now, could you imagine how the people of Onitsha and Asaba have endured such a situation for over 25, 30 years? This is reality. So we cannot overestimate the importance of the second River Niger Bridge. To express appreciation to our President, Muhammad Buhari, for being the vehicle for the execution of this monumental project.
My brother, my sister, do you know that winning an election is not only about getting the majority vote? For that your candidate to be declared winner of the election, he or she must secure 25% of the vote in 2/3 of all states plus the FCT to be president, and 25% of the vote in 2/3 of all local governments of a state to be governor. This is constitutional, and every presidential candidate has had to pass this threshold. Even governors have had to make this mark to get elected in their states. We live in one country with different languages, religions, and ethnic groups. This is why it is not enough to have only northern votes, or southern votes, or eastern votes, or western votes. The only way to get elected as president or governor is by gaining enough support across the country and states. Let us make sure that we know now so that we don't cause an issue tomorrow. This message is brought to you by the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO.
All right, folks, let's go back a little and we dig up for what Babajide argued on the program when it came up for discussion. We'll share that with you now.
This is a very important matter that concerns the average Nigerian. So in this case, the Supreme Court has to come up with a definitive position that will then become the law. What is at stake now is, okay, the law says that the CBN must give reasonable time. What is reasonable is what the Supreme Court will decide. How many months can be deemed reasonable? Their lawyers have argued that, look, they gave 3 months notice. The judges have to decide whether 3 months notice is enough in view of the evidence on ground, the people struggling at banks. There was a precedent who took a decision to vary the judgment of the Supreme Court by going ahead to give his own order at a time when the case was still pending. The case had not been decided, which angered some prominent lawyers in our country. That issue also has to be addressed. No one knows what the judgment of the Supreme Court will be, but I know that they always look at, it's not even everything that the Supreme Court decides based on the law. they also look at decisions that if they take will probably worsen security situation. For me, all this unnecessary head banging on the wall over this Naira thing, those who will win the election will win the election. People had made up their minds a long time ago. You will see on election day, mark my words, on my honor, I'm saying it, that those who will win will win. There are people who have a rich deposit of goodwill. Whether you give them money or not, if they made up their minds to vote for you, they will vote for you. Money is just bonus. People will discover that. Is it in the South, in the Southeast today, all of what we've been talking about? Obi will win some states with about 95, 96%. Is it that he's been sharing money? It's not all about money. My own concern, because I'm hearing people say, oh, after the election, this money will be everywhere. That is assuming that the CBN has printed enough. If they've not printed enough, this election will go, this problem will still remain. Look at fuel scarcity. We've been battling it since October. So that is my own fear. That are we sure that after the election that this whole matter will go away? I'm really worried.
All right, history. Kola, you know, a very prominent justice of the United States Supreme Court, Robert Jackson, said, quote, "We are not final because we are infallible, but we are infallible because we are final." So we are here. The Supreme Court has delivered the judgment. Where do we go from here, do you think?
Where else do we go? we keep spending our money. You know, we all complain about this then, but it appears some people felt it was because of, many of the persons who come on air to advocate for the people, perhaps they were not even affected as much with this policy. I beat my chest, I was not affected. I've been used to cashless stuff for a long time. I mean, for a very long time. So this was not there. We have examples to learn from. India did the same thing. Even theirs was even longer, 6 months. Despite that, the report that came out by IMF some few years later showed that what they did not achieve any of its purposes because it was abrupt. It wasn't planned. You have an example in England. Go check England. When they were doing this last currency redesign, they started the talk in 2011. Stakeholders engagement started in 2013 before the general engagement in 2013. The first one was not issued until 2016. How many years after? 5 years after. And that was £5. £10 came in 2017. Like that, 2018 until 2020. The last one was perhaps 2 years ago, thereabout. Yeah. But we wanted to do everything in 3 months. In this country, this is not the first time that we are changing. There are reasons why you change your currency, either for economic reform or whatever. I was looking for the exact reason for this. I could not get this, except that it was politically motivated, and you put the entire nation in this kind of because of who? Because of a man? But now you have institutional framework to deal with such, not putting a policy.
KJ, am I reporting anybody if I say to you now I had to part with 4,000 just to get 10,000 earlier on?
Bro, I have never bought one penny since.
Okay.
Good for you. But I was screaming at the top of my voice. I was screaming then that this is a bad one. No, it is because you people. I was me not get cash, so I know they keep cash from time.
You don't do that. Say you are cashless. So all of these things was avoidable.
Thoroughly avoidable. It was an act of callousness on the hapless masses. And people must behave
needlessly,
bearing in mind that they will account for their actions. People must bear that in mind. If not on earth, certainly in heaven, you will account for your actions. When you inflict this level of pain on ordinary people for political reasons, it just shows that you don't know what you are doing. In that tape, I kept saying that we shall see that those who will win the election because I knew that it would not be sufficient to stop someone from winning.
It is not all about cash.
Here, I sat here doing my punditry. I stopped on 29 states because I didn't know, we didn't have the time for me to finish everything. Because we needed to stop on Thursday based on the regulators' stipulations. I had done 29 states. I knew after 29 states who will win. If people go back to watch the punditry that I did on their own, based on 29 states, they can see who won. I knew this thing will not stop the person who will win from winning. Did we not see them catch someone with dollars on election day? Because it's not Naira alone. It's foolhardy to think that if you confiscate people's Naira, they will not be able to use money on election day. Who told you? It's not money alone. I saw politicians during this election, they shared bags of 5 kg bags of rice, they shared spaghetti. They were doing house to house and were giving people these little bags of rice, spaghetti. There was even an individual who shared dollars on election day. God is my judge. So you fool yourself that they will not be able to find money. Who told you? Oh, you assume that it's on election day that people start buying votes? That means you don't know Nigerian politicians. Some of us know them very well. They start long before. Happy the Supreme Court did the right thing. Mr. President should have consulted widely. He didn't. The lawyer representing Kano State said it that he should have taken the matter before the Council of State and fake. Even the Minister of Finance said she did not know. So Emefiele was behaving like, look, he could do whatever he liked because he had the president behind him.
Yeah.
Will the president be in power forever? The president will leave one day and you will be made to account for your actions.
All right.
So I hope that lessons have been learned and that the Supreme Court clearly has now underlined the fact that no president is above the law, no president is an emperor, no president can take actions that he thinks that he deems fit.
And besides, the Supreme Court as an independent institution must be allowed to do its job.
Yes, and it has just done its job.
All right, so before we go for the commercial, for those who didn't get it, the Supreme Court has ruled that you may continue using or spending your 200, 500 Naira and 1,000 Naira notes until December 31st. Let's go for it.
I'm not afraid of that man.
Me too.
What can you really do?
I hope you people are discussing about paying me my rent.
Oga landlord, calm down. We are discussing about the upcoming elections.
Nonsense. Don't tell me to calm down. Your mates are at the Akamata Community Square selling their Naira.
But yes, it's just 4 Naira per day. Is this what we should sell our votes for? God forbid.
Oga landlord, wise up. We must vote in the right people this time, instead of selling our votes to people who have nothing good to offer our community.
That one is your business. You ladies better go and collect yours, if that will help you gather my rent at the end of the month. Do not listen to people like this landlord. Election is not a business venture. It is your civic duty to your country to help elect the right leaders who will create a better life for you and a great future for your children. Do not sell your future. Do not sell your vote. This message is brought to you by the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the MacArthur Foundation.
When I was younger, I got asked a question by a friend. What is the ultimate dream in life? You see, in my several decades on Earth, I have seen trends come and go, hopes die.
The
Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) will conduct the 2023 general election using the bimodal voter accreditation system (BVAS). On election day, the BVAS equipment will be used to accredit voters by verifying their fingerprints or facial photographs. In each polling unit, every voter must be verified and authenticated before they are allowed to vote. Any intending voter whose fingerprint or facial photograph is not verified by the BVAS equipment will not be able to vote. With this, one man, one woman, one vote is assured. As no one can engage in multiple voting, neither can anyone use the voter cards of another person to vote. After polling, the BVAS equipment will also be used to transmit election results electronically from polling units to the INEC result viewing portal for everyone to see. BVAS will eliminate multiple voting, identity theft, or impersonation. The BVAS will guarantee one man, one woman, one vote. INEC, making your vote count, consolidating our democracy.
This message is brought to you by the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) and the Center for Democracy and Development (CDD), with support from the Osiwa Africa Foundation.
Okay, folks, to our last story. You know, the trial of a former Accountant General of the Federation, AGF, Ahmed Idris, on an alleged 109 billion naira corruption charges became stalled at the Federal High Court on Wednesday, 1st of March. Now, this occurred because a statement made to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, by the accused was missing and could not be located or found by the agency, the court, and the defense team. The ex-AGF denied, however, that some of the statements he volunteered to the EFCC in respect of the 109 billion naira in question were voluntary. Justice Halilu Yusuf then ordered a trial within a trial to verify the claim. Keeps us guessing what's likely to happen next, Jide.
Some things happen in our country. You just ask yourself, why are we like this? Ordinarily, this sort of thing, my feeling is that some people within the FCC made up their minds to sabotage this matter. Because this fellow has made some refunds. She has returned some money in foreign currency. Now, are we trying to contrive a situation in which he does not go to jail just because we've taken some money from him? I don't know how the FCC can explain this to Nigerians.
Yeah.
Because the statement is crucial to your success or otherwise in this matter. And you allow it to get missing. It got missing on two fronts. I don't understand.
Maybe
I don't understand.
Maybe
on two fronts.
Yeah.
That of EFCC got missing. And they cannot fall back on the same statement delivered to another source. That one too is missing. This is organized crime. Let's not fool ourselves. It's organized crime.
And Kolawole, it's been said that one way of fighting crime is to make sure that investigation is also like the crime, very, very organized, if you see what I mean.
So BF Skinner brought out a scholarly work. If you do not punish an offense, you've only reinforced the possibility of that happening again, not even in the same dimension. It will come bigger. Corruption in Nigeria is endemic. And if you see the dimension of this case, there is something there that we should look at that will show you that it is institutionalized. The money that belonged to the Niger Delta State, the 13% derivation, the man refused to pay until government institutions parted with bribe, 15.1 billion, according to what EFCC told us. In fact, those who paid the money have been arrested and charged alongside with it. So it is so bad that it is no longer even institution to institution, agency to agency. They now need to bribe for them to get what rightly belongs to them. Recently, we brought out some facts in the fact that EFCC itself turned itself to a revenue collection agency, collecting money that belonged to an agency of government on their behalf, and they did not remit. As a matter of fact, a city minister requested from the president to convert that money to a special project account to be used to finance special project in the Niger Delta area. And 480 billion was requested from the money that EFCC had collected. Today, EFCC is saying that they've only collected 36 billion naira. See, no, please wait.
Was it even their business collecting?
They are not, their act does not even support that. See, we only kept quiet because at the time you saw, different CSO, these days they eat with that CSO. They were just bombarding them politically. I felt we will withdraw and let the election be over. We are coming for them.
KJ, we must go. But Jide, you read the statement. Society prepares the crime, the criminal commits it. We are here.
So we are good at preparing. We are good at preparing, right?
Grandpa.
According to you.
Now we command the file, Abi. Now we command even the one in the registry of the court.
That one too is missing. That's why it's organized now.
You took it away from EFCC file?
Yes. And then still took that one away. That's why.
And you didn't even forward it to the defense lawyer.
Shouldn't they have recorded him? Shouldn't they have video recorded him?
There was no way such would have been done without recording. I can say it.
And he claimed that he made those statements under duress. So it then means
after on the strength of the statement, he made returns.
Yes, yes. Now.
So he got to the state and said made under duress.
$300,000.
I beg, we must go. We must go.
We had the kind of money that he returned.
We must go. All right. Thank you, Jide, for coming. And Kola Wole, many thanks too.
Grandpa, thank you.
Okay. That's it on the program today. If you missed any part of this broadcast, watch us at 11 tonight for a repeat. But on Sunday, we have from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30, a 2-hour, an extended version of the show. Join us then. We are also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Citizen Jones. Bye-bye now.
Never miss a moment. Instant breaking news from all over the globe.